You're listening to Investify, preaching financial independence and assisting investors to achieve a more flexible and free lifestyle through smart financial planning and real estate investing. If leaving the corporate world and jumping into this thriving industry is what you desire, tune in and listen to stories of like-minded individuals who made the leap to financial independence. Equip yourself with the right tips and tricks to start your real estate journey, making active or passive ventures that are highly profitable and rewarding.
What's going on, everybody? You are listening to Investify. My name is Craig Curlop, aka the Fi Guy, and I'm here with my co-host, Miss Allie Garcet. What up, Allie?
What's up, Craig? Today was such an awesome episode. I really liked it.
Today was a crazy episode, and my mind has just been blown ever since the beginning. So
I know.
it's still blown. I'm kind of speechless, not gonna lie.
I know. Yeah, me too. And I can't believe that Bobby, our guest today, was not. He was ready to go.
Yeah, he was just it was just like a regular day for him.
Yeah, it's just like the discipline of military people, like, hey, I'm in this right now, let's do it, and then on to the next thing. So
that's so true. This isn't even high stakes for military people like him, probably. He's like, yeah, I just got back and whatever. And honestly, I don't want to ruin it. I'm not going to ruin it. And so we're going to let Bobby reveal what is what is happening and what he's going through right now. And he was still able to come on the show. So if you're not giving Bobby some love on Instagram, you got to go give him some love on Instagram after this episode, after you hear what he's about to go through. And if you haven't already left us a 5-star rating and review on Spotify or iTunes, please go ahead and do that, because that is going to help us out big time. But before we get to Bobby, Allie, I want to hear a little bit about you. What's going on in your life? Give me an update.
Okay, an update is I just got my Icon Award in the mail yesterday. So that's pretty cool.
Whoop, whoop. What does that mean?
Yeah. That means that EXP was 100% brokerage for me. I got my entire cap back in the form of stock, which that's the most exciting. And of course, cool, I got a little plaque. Is that what you call it? A plaque?
Okay. I would call that a trophy.
Trophy. Okay, that's the word. I don't know.
Or what do they call it in finance? When you do a deal and you get it's like a something stone, like a gravestone or a
gravestone. I'm not dying, Craig.
No, it's not. It's like a cool thing.
Wait, that's a headstone.
A headstone. Yeah. Or honestly, I used to be in finance and I used to know what this word was, and they were so cool, but I don't remember what they were. But you got one of those, and that's amazing. Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's one of the big perks about being at EXP, is that if you are a producer like Allie, then you're able to not pay any cap, get all of it back in the form of company stock, which eventually goes up. And so you I don't know, I got that award too. I'm in EXP now for going on 4 years. So now my first icon is now vested, and that $16,000 that I got is now worth $50,000. So that first year was super profitable for me.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and you can sell that at any time now too.
And I can sell it at any time, but I'm not going to, because I'm afraid to sell EXP stock, and it's down. So never sell when they're down, and then never sell when it's up, because you think it's going to keep going up. So it's just,
I know, right?
this is how I work. I just never sell. But speaking of never selling, we've got Mr. Bobby Paquette on the show, and he is not a never seller, because you'll find out that he does sell, and you'll figure out his way of figuring out when to buy, when to hold, when to sell. And I thought that was pretty interesting too. So without further ado, let's bring on Mr. Bobby Paquette.
This episode of Investify was brought to you by the FI team, a team of investor-friendly agents that service all 50 states. If you are looking to house hack, to invest, grow your portfolio, and want a true investor-friendly agent on your side, go to thefiteam.com and click Get Started. And we can't wait to have a good conversation with you.
Bobby Paquette, welcome to the show, my friend. How you doing today, dude?
I'm doing good. I'm enjoying this beautiful South Carolina weather. I was telling Allie I just got back from a deployment actually Sunday.
Oh, you just got back from a deployment?
Yep.
Where are you coming from?
I was in Qatar. I'm in South Carolina full time in the Charleston area.
Okay. How is it a little bit nicer, a little bit maybe more peaceful, more serene in South Carolina than it is in Qatar?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more green here, a lot of grass and trees as opposed to dirt.
Yeah, definitely got to enjoy that, man. Awesome. So you've already spilt some of the beans that you're in the military. So did you start from take us back to kind of when you first heard about financial independence, when you first kind of had this shift, and was it in the military before or after?
I think it was before. I kind of grew up with that entrepreneurial mindset, whereas like back in middle school, I was selling duct tape wallets that I made, and then selling other little like low cost items to people at school, soda, candy, the whole nine. And I think I kind of got that from my dad growing up. He owned a restaurant, and just hard work was instilled in us, my half brother and I. So I think I just got that from him, and then just kept going, and then it transitioned to when I got in the military.
That's awesome. So did you join the military right from high school?
Yes, and I actually joined for the sole reason to go to school for free. I knew I didn't want to take out a bunch of college debt, so I got in. I immediately got after it. My first 6 years, I had finished my bachelor's, and I had already started my master's at that point, and it just kind of taken off from there.
Sorry, I want to get a little bit of context on the years. So when did you enter? What year did you enter the military? What year did you go to school? What year did you graduate?
I joined the military back in 2015, straight out of high school. I'm 27 years old now, so I've been in a little over 8.5 years, E6, so I'm enlisted on the enlisted side. I got in, spent a year in Korea, then 3.5 in Italy, and now I'm in South Carolina. School-wise, I went and got my bachelor's, graduated that in I think it was 21, and then I have a few classes left in my master's. I should finish that next year. I just knocked out 6 classes on my deployment, so I'm about to finish that one up. And then pretty much around that time, I've been doing some other stuff. I got my real estate license 2 years ago, and I've been doing that in Charleston on the side, other than active duty.
Dude, you're killing it. First of all, welcome back to the States. I know that transition is very rough, can be rough sometimes, like go from no freedom to all the freedom when you're back in the States. Like, oh my God, I can eat McDonald's, I don't have to eat like dining facility food. Like it's a lot. So welcome back. Thanks for being on our show. Just to reiterate again, college and pretty much you're almost done with your master's. How much did you pay for that?
Nothing.
Exactly.
None out of pocket.
Not for your master's either.
Nope.
So many people, at least I got this. I don't know if you get the same thing. So many people are like, oh my gosh, I wish or like sort of like oh, lucky you that you didn't graduate with student loans. I'm like, I chose this, like not lucky me. I purposely like spent 10 years of my life. It didn't have to be 10, but 4 years of my life in order to pay for college, like I chose to sign on the dotted line in order to not have college debt. So it's not lucky me. I did this on purpose. Do you get that as well or no?
All the time. And then I even now have a caveat to that too. So I was just deployed. So when people say lucky me, I just missed the birth of my daughter because I was deployed actually. I'm going to meet her tonight for the first time. I'm hopping on an airplane after this.
What?
So, yeah.
Dude, what? What?
Oh.
Why are you here?
Running around. The flight is like 9 p.m. tonight. So this worked out.
Oh my gosh. Dude.
Oh, I just got chills.
Oh. Yeah. That is insane, bro.
I just had my final in-processing appointment with my commander today, actually, a couple hours ago. And then I got home, packed up. I got like 3 hours in between going to the airport. So it actually really worked out really well working on this.
Wow. Okay. I need to unpack this a little bit. So you're in school working on your master's while being deployed. So I didn't even know that was possible. I thought you had to either be in school or be in the military, but you can do both at the same time.
Yes.
Okay. You guys are like
online.
Noob.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So my mind is blown with that. But now, your wife just gave birth to your firstborn, your first daughter. First of all, dude, like I need to just say, like, 1, thank you so much for your service. Number 2, holy crap, congratulations on a daughter. And number 3, I literally can't believe you're on the show right now, and you can even have like the mind to even do this. So, like, I mean, thank you, but dang, I don't even know where to go. Allie, I'm gonna this is on you, Allie. My brain can't handle this. I'm not military. Like,
yeah. So I feel like people back in the day where that were in the military and doing classes online, they had that like stigmatism where like a long time ago, online classes were like garbage, like schools that were of quality didn't offer, um, online stuff. So, but now things are changing, luckily. So now it's like even more of a reason to join the military. I mean, this is not a recruiting call for the military, but it has a lot of perks. Of course, it has a lot of cons, like missing the birth of your firstborn and missing holidays. I mean, everything that comes with that. So yeah, again, thank you for your service. Big time. But yeah, I feel like I just wanted to start that off where like a lot of people are like, oh my God, you're so lucky. No, I chose this. And you could have chosen it too. So what are you getting your master's in? Being that you are also a real estate agent and you're going back to a whole family now. You have a lot of stuff going on. Anyway, what's your master's in?
Yeah. So I chose the MBA route and concentration in entrepreneurship. And the only reason I really chose that was I'll probably never use that, considering you don't need to have a degree in real estate. But it looks good on military boards and all that. And then the networking that I get in the classes. The forum discussions, we're talking sometimes about real estate and business. So we connect really well and all that. So it's kind of like double whammy.
Nice.
So would you say it's worth it for someone to get a degree, even if it's free? Because it's nothing's free, right? You still got to spend the time. I'm sure there's book money. There's a bunch of stuff that comes with it. So like, is it worth losing 6 years or whatever to get your master's? Or do you think it would be better to just like be on YouTube University and kind of go the gritty way?
I think it depends on your goals with the degree. If you plan on using it to learn some things, or so how it can benefit your business. Like if I go take a marketing class that's free for the military, I can then take that and use it in my business. And maybe I learn a thing or two out of that, or I meet some people who I end up doing a deal with. So I think it's always worth it. And you just got to look at the time cost of it. People that are in the military, you get deployed, you have plenty of time to take classes. So you could just do classes on deployments and that's it, and then never do them when you're back home.
Okay, I want to ask you another question about school in general, because you're fresh in school right now. Okay, I don't know if this is actually true, but I'm going to use the 80-20 framework, where it's going to take you 20% effort to get an 80, which is like a B- in your classes. Like, do you think and it's going to probably take you 80% extra effort to get the A. And so do you think it's worth it to just be that like C+ B- student, but only allocate 20% of your time? Or is it worth it kind of graduating magna cum laude or summa cum laude or whatever? I don't even know the differences, but to get the high GPA?
For me personally, I'm not shooting for the high GPA. I'm looking at more of the time that I spend on it. If I can give, like you said, 20% to get the 80, then I'm going to go for that in this area of my life, at least.
Okay. I think that's smart, right? I think because you can. I wish I recognized that in college, because I was like the kid that was like working really hard to get like the magna cum laude or summa cum laude or whatever, and like I was like, man, I missed out on not a lot of fun, but also like a lot of entrepreneurship and a lot of like I could have bought real estate if I was just like listening to Bigger Pockets or whatever at the time. And so I think there's a lot of like you can be too narrow focused if you're in school.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. So did you were you investing first, or did you become an agent first?
I was investing first, and then as I got to South Carolina, I started seeing like I was dishing out leads to agents just of my friends, and I was like, well, I can do this. I know I can do this. So then I got my license, and I just went all in on it, really, as a side hustle.
I want to talk a little bit about like, when did you decide that, I mean, it sounds like your dad was in the restaurant business. When did you decide real estate was for you?
So I've always been in like the personal, professional development and growth. I started with stocks when I was overseas. In my whole office, my whole work center, we were talking about stocks, buying stocks. And then that gradually transitioned into real estate. I remember I would used to just go to the Stairmaster in the gym, and I would have Bigger Pockets playing in my head, in my ears at least, and just listen to those, and then read, the Rich Dad Poor Dad whole when you pick that up and just kickstarts everything. So it gradually transitioned from stocks to real estate. And that was back in like 2019.
Okay. So 2018, 2019, you're on the real estate trend. And then when did you actually take action?
Right before I came back stateside in 2019, I purchased my primary on the VA loan. And then about 8 months later, I purchased my first rental. If I was to go overseas now, though, I don't think I would let that stop me, considering I've done a lot more out-of-state deals now. So I started as I got back to the U.S. back in 2020.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about the VA loan I think most people know that it's 0% down, but I'm more curious on like how many years in the military do you need that? How can you qualify? Are there other certain properties that can and can't qualify, etc.?
Yeah, so I actually see you just need to have some active duty time, and there's different specifications for it. So a lot of guys that go guard or reserve, they're trying to get a deployment so they can get enough active duty time to then use their VA loan. So you don't even have to be active duty to use it. So that's where a lot of people think they can't use it because they're not active duty. But I just had one of my guys get out of active duty after 2 years, and he then went and used his VA loan to buy a house in West Virginia. And I have one guy looking right now. He's buying a 4-unit, and he's going to live in one of them. He's going to rent out the other 3 units because you can buy up to a 4-unit on the VA loan. And then he has a roommate for his unit.
Okay, awesome. And so you mentioned that's what you did for your first one too, was the VA loan.
Yes.
Allie, do you know what this is starting to feel, sound, smell
It's-
like?
Starting to taste like the
The for real
deal.
Boom, boom, boom. Bobby, this is the first deal that you've ever done to make you a true real estate investor. So you mentioned the VA loan. You mentioned Charleston, South Carolina. Tell us a little bit about how you found the deal. You used the VA loan, we get that. But how much money did you actually bring in after, if there were closing costs or rehab, stuff like that? And just talk us through this one.
Okay. So, I purchased this one at the very end of 2019, right before I got back in 2020. It was a newer build. It was only about 3 years old, and VA loan, I brought about I think 5,000 to closing costs down, but that was it. And purchase price was 233 at the time, I think. And then I got in there a couple months later. I ended up renting out a bedroom that covered over half my mortgage, so house hack. And then I sold it right a little after my 2-year mark when the market shot up, and then bought a new build on a VA loan again.
Okay, awesome. So you just had one bedroom rented out that whole time?
Yeah, and now my current one, I have 2 bedrooms rented out.
Okay, so were you like cash flowing on this property, or was it just kind of like a, hey, I just want to subsidize my living a little bit?
Yeah, so it was pretty much that. I think I was coming out of pocket because I had a 2.75 rate at the time. I think I was like $450 out of pocket. I was coming with the roommate in there.
$450.
Nice.
That's nuts.
Nice.
And then okay. So you're living for dirt cheap. And then my question is, why sell it, right? I mean, you got a loan at 2.75%. It's a new build. You're not going to do anything on it for a while. What happened?
So I actually contemplated going back and forth between selling it or having it as a rental. And I pretty much just took the numbers, like, this is what it would rent for. Here's what my mortgage would be if I moved, because taxes jump up when you move in South Carolina. Here's what my payments would be. Can I make more money than this if I took the money I would make from selling it and other investments? So I did. I sold it, and I went and bought 3 properties, and I burned all 3. So it worked out really well.
So what did you sell it for?
$347.
Okay, so you got like a little over 100K. You probably netted a little under 100K after paying fees and stuff like that. Or what did you come out like? What did you walk away with? What was the size of your check?
103. So 103 grand, and I was my own agent. So I actually had my license at that time, when I sold it.
Nice.
Perfect. And so you took that money, and now you're this is like using the velocity of money, right? Like you're taking the equity, and now you've bought 3 burrs. Can you talk to us about at least one of them?
Yeah. So I'll do the latest one. I just refinanced the last one actually while I was deployed. So it was a purchase. We got the seller down. It was purchased from a wholesaler. Bought it for $36,000. It's in Ohio. Put about 75 into it. Got it rented out. Rents $19.25 a month. Appraiser came in, appraised it at $164. So I was able to clear all my money back that I had put into it. So 100% cash on cash, pretty much infinity return at this point. And the mortgage is $1,100 with an 8% rate.
Wow. So you're cash flowing like after reserves and stuff and property management, yada, yada. You're probably at like a couple $100 a month of cash flow, but not free, but essentially free. Obviously you had to, yeah. Wow. That's incredible, man. And so where did you mentioned you did 3 of these. Would you do them back to back to back, or did you have them like, were you doing 3 at a time?
So I did the first one about 3 months before I refinanced that one, I then bought the second one. And then right before I refinanced that, I bought two others that I just happened to sell those already. Not crazy profits. They were just, one of them was a package deal. It came with the second one. And then I sold that one off. I think I made a couple, like 5 to 10,000 on that, but I only owned it for 6 months and sold it for 75,000. And I didn't put any money into it. So it made sense to just get it off the books. I'm working on kind of like trimming the fat, as they call it, on the portfolio right now. So trying to keep some properties that make sense and get rid of the ones that are kind of eating at it. But one after the other, pretty much.
3 of those in Ohio.
2 of them are. The other one is kind of on the border of Kentucky and Ohio, but it's on the Kentucky side. They're pretty much all in the Cincinnati market.
Why'd you pick that market?
I just got one deal sent to me out there, and then they already had a team ready to go. And so I started talking to them, and that's where my whole team is now. I talked to them from a property management to renovations to real estate agent to lenders. So to me, it's just where the team is.
You know what's interesting is Burr was kind of the flavor of the month like a couple of years ago, right? Like 2019, 2020, maybe even 2021 a little bit. And I'm kind of like just talking to you. I'm like, is it coming back? Because I'm kind of thinking like right now buyers have, it's been the best time to buy in a long time in terms of competition. So you can actually get properties at much lower prices, and appraisals have not really like come down that much. Like we haven't had an appraisal, at least on our team. And I think we've done about 100 deals year to date. I don't remember a single appraisal coming in significantly lower than the price. And so I'm thinking that like you can get prices at a discount. Appraisals are just as high as they've ever been. And so you've actually got some play here, and contractors aren't as busy as they used to be. So maybe they're a little bit more generous with rates. Like, is Burr coming back? I'm just thinking about it right now.
I'm hoping it is because I like doing it.
Yeah.
I love the transformation in the property.
Yeah, maybe you're onto something here, man. And so you've got your first, or not your first, but your second property. Wait, so how many properties do you have now? I'm kind of losing track because you're buying, you're selling.
So now I have 5, including my primary right now. I do have one listed for sale that I'm trying to get rid of, but probably end up having to just rehab it so we don't lose too much. I think if we rehab it and refi it, I think we'll probably closer to break even, long term, make money on it. So that's probably the route we'll go with that one right now. But so yeah, 5 including primary with 2 roommates in my primary.
Gotcha. And can you take us through like your thinking process and your like maybe analysis of evaluating each house and deciding on whether it makes sense to keep it or to sell it?
Yeah. So recently, right now I've been using the Bigger Pockets calculators a lot, just to run the numbers on them. And then if I go to like the Cincinnati market, I'll shoot my team down there an address and be like, what do you think of this one? Is this something you would want to manage? And then if they want, they'll run over to the property sometimes and do a walkthrough. So then they'll just let me know, hey, this is what we could rent it for, and this is what the ARV is, and we'd go based off that what we can purchase it for. And then I've put a few offers in that are just too low and they get denied, but we put the offers in. As long as the numbers make sense in that. And I'm kind of torn right now if I want to do the next one, if I want to do something like appreciation play or a cash flow play. So I'm still torn on the next one. I keep getting into all these rooms where people are talking different strategies, and I'm like, oh, I want to do that, and then I want to do that, and then I want to do this.
Yeah. That's so hard once you start like hearing success stories you can be successful in anything that you do, but so you have to like pick one and not just like choose the shiny object. I would say it depends on how long you want to stay in the military. Because if you are going to stay in the military for a long time, then appreciation all the way. But if for some reason you take an assignment and you realize, you know what, this is it. That's where I realized I was doing all my like stuff just for appreciation. And then, and then what do you know, didn't want to do the full 20 years. And I got out and I was like, you know what? I wish I had focused a little bit more on some cash flow. But of course, you can always turn that appreciation into cash flow. So yeah. How long do you plan on staying in?
So I think now that we have our daughter, we're both active duty. We're both about to be E6s at 8 years in. So I'm going to transfer my GI benefits to her. That incurs 4 more years, puts me at about 12 and a half. But I'm kind of looking at that 20-year, 38-year-old getting the passive income checks from a pension. And I know there's other ways you can make that money easily in real estate as well, but I'll still be 38, so plenty of time to do real estate still.
We hope this episode is inspiring you to take action. If you're thinking about becoming a real estate agent or an agent who wants to join an investor-friendly team, just hit me up on Instagram at the Fi Guy, because we are growing our team in Denver, Seattle, San Diego, and Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, but also adding to our network in all 50 states. And if you didn't already know this, the Fi team provides a super supportive environment with one-on-one coaching, accountability, and ongoing training to help develop kick-ass, rock star, investor-friendly real estate agents. So hit me up on Instagram at the Fi Guy, shoot me a DM, and we'll set up a time to chat. Can't wait to chat with you.
Okay, I got two things to say because I just can't shut up. One on the, I guess I'll talk about what we're just talking about right now, which is like the passive income thing. I mean, it sounds like you're investing and being in the military at the same time. So like if the military is not getting in the way big time, I would just say continue to do both and get that pension. It sounds like that's where your head's at anyway, so you don't need to take that advice from me. But the second thing I want to talk about is just that appreciation cash flow thing that we're talking about. And you can totally have both, right? Like if you're in a good market, I'm going to shamelessly plug like Denver. I bet you Tucson is this way. Like think of cities that people want to visit that populations are pretty big, and you can get creative with short-term rentals or rent by the room and all that kind of stuff. Like all of my properties in Denver cash flow me minimum $1,000 a month, at the most $2,500 a month, and it's like that's way better than any Ohio deal that I've ever heard on like a single family home. That's like $200-300 a month, right? And those properties are appreciating. In the few years I've owned them, they've all appreciated 6 figures or more. And so it's like you can have your cake and eat it too. You just have to be comfortable with buying at some bigger numbers and like taking a little bit. I wouldn't even say it's more risk, but like just playing like owning a $600,000 property instead of a $60,000 property kind of thing.
I think the toughest part with that is, for me at least, is getting the financing on it too, because they're looking. A lot of lenders won't use my realtor income because I've only been doing it for 2 years, and then the military doesn't pay 6 figures, at least not yet. But so that's the toughest part now.
Yeah, I guess that's true. You got to move to Denver, bro. That's all you got to do. There's some base there, Air Force, I think.
Yeah, Buckley's in Denver.
Yeah.
I want to ask about so I didn't realize that your wife is also active duty. Is she in South Carolina too, living as part of the house hacking there, or is she somewhere else?
No, she's here. We're not married, so she's just my partner. But okay. She also owns her place here too, so I spend most of my time here actually.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So the house hack, that makes sense. So you have a primary residence before you're even married, and because I'm thinking like wife at home with a brand new baby with 2 roommates.
Right.
Got it. Yeah. Okay.
So we each own our homes here.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's the way to do it. That's how Britt and I did it too.
Yeah, I think that's the smartest way, is leveraging both of you guys. Like, I mean, if you guys can house hack every 6 months or whatever, like, I think that's huge. Are you able to have more than one VA loan on at a time?
Yes, and that's another myth. A lot of people think that you can't. You can have 2, 3. It just depends on the loans, the size of the loans at least.
So there you go. So you can continuously, I mean, you guys could each have like 6 potentially VA loans, and then you could still be a normal person, civilian, and put 5% down sometimes as well. Like it's not that, I'm sure that wouldn't kill you. And you can just kind of keep stacking your portfolio. And before you know it, within 4 years, y'all could have 8 to 10. You're buying in Ohio, probably 15, 20 properties. And, you might laugh at that 38 thing and be like, you know what, I'm good. But Who knows?
Sometimes in the military, when you get some orders from people, you do start laughing and wondering if you need to stay in 38 or not.
Yeah. Bobby, I want to ask you something about the military, and like, how do you think like the military has actually helped you in your real estate? Like, would you recommend anybody go that route, or would it be better to just not join the military at all and just do real estate?
I would say definitely join the military to start, even if it's reserve, guard, or if you can do the 4 years active and get out, because 1, you have the VA loan, and then 2, you have that network of people. That's how I've got a lot of my real estate agent business now too, is directly from the military. And I'm active duty. People are coming into base. They're buying houses. People are PCS and they're selling houses and then buying where they're going. So I would definitely say the military has ramped up my real estate agent business and investor long term with the VA loan. You can't really beat the VA loan.
Are there any downsides to the VA loan?
None that I can think of, because it doesn't have PMI in it, which is private mortgage insurance, which could be a couple $100 a month you're not paying now. Zero down. Yeah, I've had some people on new builds walk away from closing with a check.
Well, have you had any experience with like when the market was hotter, like not being able to get properties under contract because the VA loan, maybe like the appraisal's a little tougher or sellers don't like them as much?
So I didn't have any of that with my clients. I did hear some stories about that. And now it's funny because there's a lot of people trying to assume VA loans, but they need to bring like 6 figures cash to close. So that's where I see the struggle with VA loans right now. People trying to assume them, because most people in the military, unless they just sold the house, they're not walking around with 6 figures cash to help put down on a house.
So what do you mean by that? You need 6 figures cash to assume a VA loan?
No. So a lot of people that are, at least in my area, the people that are PCS and are moving away from South Carolina with the military, they're trying to sell their home, and a lot of agents are marketing as 3.75 assumable VA rate. But the appreciation that they've got in the last 3 years since that rate, they have about $150,000 in equity. So when they sell it, now someone has to bring all that cash to the table to assume that loan, or they have to get a lender that's going to put a second lien position on the house.
Gotcha.
And not only that, it then ties up that selling member's entitlement. So they cannot, VA loan is dependent on like how much you have left in the bucket of every person's allowance for the VA loan, right? So yeah, then they're completely in the hands of that new buyer. If that new buyer never wants to refinance or never sells it, then that seller might not ever be able to use their VA loan again. So it's like, it doesn't work out. I've never seen it work out for buyers. I don't think it's a strong strategy for sellers. But yeah, everyone's like, oh yeah, let's market it as a 2.75% interest rate because somebody can assume the loan. Nobody has $150,000 cash. And if they do, they're not going to want to assume a VA loan. Yeah. It's like a whole thing. It's in theory, it's a way to market it, but realistically, I've never seen it done. What brokerage are you with?
So I'm with Real this year. I was with EXP last year, and then I moved over to Real at the beginning of this year.
Oh, no way.
Why the move?
Yeah.
So I eventually joined a team at the end of last year with EXP, and they were moving over to Real. So I wanted to stay with them because I knew I was deploying, and it would be helpful while I'm gone to still do my agent work here. And then 2 other little things that Real doesn't do that EXP did was like the technology fee. It's not much, but it saved me like $1,000 for the year. And then the split was a little bit better. So it went from 80-20 to 85-15. And I really like their app that they have with Real. So I've been happy so far with it. I had no complaints with EXP at all. I have a lot of friends that are still at EXP.
What's the technology fee?
For the world.
Yeah, like how much is it? Curious.
I think it was $89 a month for the XP.
Oh, you're saying Real does not have a technology fee?
Correct.
For the 85? Oh, okay. Okay. Interesting. Anyway, kind of off topic there.
Yeah, cool. Well, obviously like EXP superior, but no, I'm just kidding. We're just 2 EXP people just, trying to make a living. But no, I think like obviously like it kind of depends on. I always tell people like in like a genuine way that like EXP is really good if like you're going to produce and you can potentially hit icon, or if you're interested in like growing a team and having a downline and all of that kind of stuff. And like if you're trying to build a team, I don't think there's a better product out there than EXP. But if you're like an agent doing mostly deals for yourself and maybe picking up someone here and there, like I legitimately think like the low cost ones are just fine. If like if your sole focus isn't being on an agent. Al, you can battle me on that too if you want, but
no, I completely agree.
That's kind of how I go on it.
Yeah. If you're going to be doing like producing a lot of work, EXP is at 100% brokerage. Like you will get your entire cap back. I just got my little thing the other day. Here's my little
oh, your little award. Oh, I wish I had.
Yeah,
I'm at my parents' house right now. I would show my
oh yeah
twinsies. Yeah.
yeah.
Congrats on that, by the way.
Thank you. And yeah, so it came in the mail. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. But I think I much prefer that $16,000 in stock.
Yeah,
But yeah,
exactly.
anyway, that's cool.
Yeah, I think the main driving factor was the team moving. Yeah, the team moving was mainly the driving factor with the deployment in sight, and I knew I needed people on the ground still, so that's what really drove it, I would say.
Yeah.
Cool, Bobby. So I want to ask you about like okay, so you got this portfolio of 5 homes right now. How much would you say you get cash flow per month from this portfolio you've got?
Gross is about 1,800. Well, if you don't include the roommate, that's without the roommates. So I would say gross is about, I don't know why I said 1,800. Gross is about 7 grand.
Okay, 7 grand of rent coming in, or is that your cash flow?
No, that's from the roommates and the three that I have rented. One's vacant, the one that's for sale right now. So essentially three, and then the roommates.
Okay, and then what's your net?
Net is about 1,800,
Net is 800. Okay,
and that's including my primary mortgage.
okay, as counting against you.
Right, because if I'm going to include the roommate's income, I want to include my primary mortgage too.
Right, makes
Mhm.
sense. And so what's like your number? Like, do you got like a financial independence number that you're striving for right now?
Yeah, so originally it was $10,000 a month coming in, but I think I've jumped that to 20 now at this point. Mainly because that whole saying is like if you shoot for the moon and you miss, you still land amongst the stars, or whatever it is. So I would rather shoot higher, and then if I miss it by a little bit, I'm still well over 10 grand. Whereas if I shoot for 10 grand, I miss it. Well, I'm not even close to 10 grand.
Yeah, and inflation, obviously.
Right. By that time, 10 grand is
And babies, obviously.
yeah,
Yeah, and a wife, obviously.
Obviously.
yeah. Stuff just starts adding up.
Yeah, it starts multiplying, dude. It's not even adding. Uh, don't ask me how that math works, but it's a multiplier. But awesome, man. So how are you planning on getting to hitting your goal? Like, are you gonna keep burrowing your way there?
I would like to, mainly because, like I said, I like that transformation in the properties. But I am trying to figure out what I want to buy next, whether it's a lower Airbnb in like the Myrtle Beach market area, since that's not too far from me. Do I want to do another burr in the Midwest? I don't think I plan on going to syndications anytime soon, since I kind of got disappointed already with the one I went in. So I think I'm going to probably burr or do burr, maybe one more primary here for appreciation, or an Airbnb.
We don't have to name names, but I'm very curious about the disappointment with the syndication. What are some like lessons learned there?
I think the biggest one for me, it was just too slow. Um, I'm very go, go, go. So I don't like right now where I am in my career, where I'm trying to build up more. The checks that I get every quarter from that, it's just way too slow for me.
So it wasn't like a syndicator's fault. It was just kind of like you probably didn't want that product, but you didn't know you didn't want it.
Yeah, at the time, I just was like, yeah, I have this money, I can go put this into that. I've learned a little bit about it from being like an LP in it. But yeah, I think it's just too slow for me right now.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. Um, awesome, man. Well, uh, I mean, it sounds like your story. Like, I mean, just to kind of give you like a little recap. First off, you just got home. Your daughter's about to be born. You got 5 properties. Kind of started with a house hack. Um, Sold that, used the equity to then burr. Now you're starting to really stack up your properties. Your goal is to get basically to $20,000 a month. You're hopefully going to do that through some burrs, but I suspect you're going to find some home run strategies along the way. Maybe it's a short term rental in Myrtle Beach, or I think a lot of people are like, you have this goal for yourself, and then you get there way quicker because you found something that just like super works. So I have no doubt you're going to get there. And then, yeah, man, is there anything else that we missed?
I would say anyone that wants to get their license to be an agent, they should definitely, if they're in a W-2 job, they should keep their W-2 job, and at least at first. It has supercharged that real estate business, which then is able to feed these properties. So it's kind of like full cycle. So that would be my biggest thing. If you get your license to stay in your W-2, and then it makes lending, if you buy a primary home, so much easier.
I actually agree with that big time.
Completely agree. How long would you suggest or advise that people stay in their W-2?
As long as they're making stuff work on it still, like I have been able to for the last 2 years in the military, and while I was deployed, still doing it. Some people like to put a number to it. I like to put am I missing out on all my family life and all my at home life because of this high job? and it's bringing me enough money, then yeah, make that transition. A lot of people have already told me that I should make that transition, but I haven't yet because I'm enjoying the ride doing both.
That's what Doug Nordman like always says too, is stay like just one assignment at a time until like get out when it's no longer fun for you. Because I had a lot of talks with him. He helped out a lot. I was like, it has not been fun for a decade since I've been in. He's like, yeah, it's time to get out.
Yeah, I haven't had a bad assignment yet, so.
Wow. Oh, well, yeah, Italy and freaking, I don't want to say cush deployments, but like nice location deployment, Cyprus. Ooh, yeah, I probably would still be in too.
I've been fortunate. And then like I was saying, and it is the referral game from the military. It's probably the biggest referral network out there.
It is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to the military side of it, but at least from the W-2 side, like you just will 100% know when it's time to quit your job. Like for me, like I was getting so dang busy being a real estate agent that I was actually on a PIP, a performance improvement plan at Bigger Pockets before I left. And I was like, I need to like leave before they fire me. And if they fire me, I feel like that's going to burn bridges. So, like you can just you just 100% know when it's time to go. So awesome. Well, Allie, I think it's almost time. But before we get there, Bobby, I want to ask you if there's any parting words of advice for the listeners.
Everyone that's in the military should get their license. That's into real estate too.
I actually made a 100%. Oh, I agree with that so much. I made a YouTube video on that. Why every military member needs their real estate license. I hear you, Bobby.
It's funny because my DO on my deployment, shout out JP, he actually told me about that one and I watched it.
Oh, my video?
Yeah.
Oh, no way. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Allie, it's working. It's doing it.
YouTube.
Yeah.
We were that's actually how I started following you, was from him actually out that on deployment.
Nice. Oh, that's so cool. I did not know that.
So is it just because of the big network or is that the main reason?
People are always moving. It seems like even while I was deployed, I had a better year this year than I did last year as an agent because just so many people moving into the state and moving into the space.
I guess if everyone in the military got their license, then it wouldn't work out. But like if 10% of the military got their license, that's like the perfect sweet spot.
Yeah. I actually put my real estate agent business on SkillBridge. So see if I can get some people in that.
There you go. That's awesome. What's SkillBridge, just real quick for people that are listening?
It's a program that people are in the military and they're transitioning out, that they can go work for a company for 6 months while they're still getting paid their pay on active duty. And it's kind of like that transition period to civilian life.
Yep, I think that's huge. We do that with our team. And I'm sure Allie's all over that as well. Awesome, Bobby.
I'm actually not anymore. Anyway.
You're not?
I'm not. So we had it takes a long time to get the formal DOD to sign off on it, right? So we had like a handshake deal with the Arizona Coalition. So our SkillBridge was only for those that are either in Arizona now, and even if they're going to move outside of Arizona, it works. Or if they wanted, if the transitioning member was going to move to Arizona, then our SkillBridge would apply. But it's such a narrow, niche, like who happens to be in Arizona, and of course they're all like brand new agents that I'm closing mine down, my SkillBridge.
That makes sense. Yeah, I guess it makes sense kind of for who you like to work with. Cool. Well, I feel like it's about that time, Allie. You know what time it smells like?
It smells like it's time for the
Final Four. Kick us off, Allie.
Question number 1, Bobby. What book are you reading right now?
Currently, I'm reading The Happiest Toddler on the Block. As I transition into this phase of fatherhood. So I've read a lot of real estate books, business. So I started reading some more in the other area of my life. And it kind of talks about how to eliminate tantrums and raise patient kids. And it kind of gives you some mechanisms to go back and forth with the kids and kind of eliminate a lot of the tantrums with normal conversations and whatnot.
Oh, okay. Wait, give us a hint. I don't even have kids, but I'm very curious. How do you get rid of a tantrum?
So there's one thing that he talks about in the first couple chapters called the fast food rule. and it's repeating back to them what they say. So like when you go to Burger King, for example, and you say a burger and fries, they don't just say $5 drive up. They say, you said a burger and fries. So repeating back to them. So that's one of the first ones that they talk about in there.
Oh, interesting. So if a kid is like lashing out, right? And they're like, I hate you, mom. You could be like, I hate you, Bobby. This is not working out. Never mind. I would be a terrible mother.
Yeah. That is
Oh,
interesting.
man. Yeah.
Like, yeah, if they're screaming for like they want more ice cream, but you can't give them. Would you like more ice cream with that? Or I don't know.
Yeah,
I
you
think
know,
we
You're
both-
gonna have to like put this in action and come back on in a couple of years when your baby girl is a toddler, and just like we might have to do some role playing here.
I'll start off with the next chapter where it talks about toddlerese and their language.
Oh boy, yeah, awesome. All right, Bobby, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
So the best advice I've ever received that was good is don't make a permanent decision under a temporary circumstance. I see that a lot, both in business and real estate, and then you see it a lot in relationships, especially in the military. So that's the best piece of advice. And the best quote I've ever seen that I love is what gets managed gets measured. So I'm huge on both of those.
Wait, or is it what gets measured gets managed, or what gets managed gets? I think my brain might be backwards now. I don't know.
What what gets measured gets managed, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. Awesome. Yeah, I love that one too.
Yeah. Question number 3. What is your why?
So I'm actually like in the middle of that. So my why has always been I wanted to get to a point that I could retire my family even before I had a family. So now I'm actually have that family that I'm building that just recently started. So that's why I got super busy, got into everything prior to having a family, started building that groundwork up. And that's the end goal is to retire my family. So whether we do the full 20 or we don't, or we get out, it's, hey, we're doing what we want, when we want, and where we want.
Amazing. I love that. Okay, this is now the last question. Do people drink or eat soup?
Both.
Both. But you got to pick one though.
Oh, then they drink it.
They eat it until they. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, Allie, what would you say in this topic?
I say they slurp. I'm going to be different.
They slurp it.
soup.
That wasn't an
Yeah,
option.
no one can eat. You can't eat soup quietly. Like that would be like the worst soup for like a robber to. If someone's robbing your house, if that was their meal, that would be a bad one.
Yeah.
Awesome. Bobby, where can people find out more about you?
Just been posting a lot of real estate stuff on my Instagram for the most part, and then on Bigger Pockets. I'm always in the forums. I'm one of the Bigger Pockets agents here in Charleston, so getting stuff for that too. But I'm in the forums a lot in Bigger Pockets.
Awesome. Check him out on Biggie Pockets, Bigger Pockets, Bobby Paquette. And then Bobby, what is your Instagram handle so people can reach out on Instagram?
It is Bobby PAQ. So first 3 letters of my last name.
Bobby PAQ.
Yep.
Awesome. Go hit up Bobby if you want to follow his story. Go give him a follow on Instagram. Bobby, thank you so much, man, for taking the time in this very, very crazy time of your life to come and share your experience with us. And man, I wish you the best of luck this evening to meet your daughter for the first time. That's amazing. And thank you again for your service. And we appreciate all that you do, man. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thanks, Bobby.
And that was Bobby Paquette. Allie, what did you think of Mr. Bobby?
What a cool cat. And I'm not saying that just because he's watched one of my YouTube videos.
I mean,
he sent me a message a while back on Instagram. That's how we connected. But yeah, it's cool to see the powers of YouTube, the powers of Air Force. Just the world is so interconnected now. So I really like his take on a lot of things. His go-getter like mentality of being very fast-paced, especially in the military. I thought that was super interesting that I would think that if I were still in the military and an agent and doing this, I don't think I would be looking for my own deals. I think I would be investing LP, but he doesn't. He wants faster, or, bigger ROI. He wants to be in the action. So that was a cool perspective that he's like, hey, that ROI is not for me. I can make more myself. So let me just do that. It was a cool episode.
Yeah, it's really funny because I do think LPs have their place. And usually it's kind of like after you've hustled, you've got a nest egg, you're okay. You don't want like the 6-7% from the market. You kind of want the 10-12%. But it is completely passive. But yeah, he's right. Like most checks are cut quarterly. There's a couple that will do monthly, but like usually they're quarterly or they're not till the end, right? So you might even put money in and you don't even see it for like 4 or 5 years. And when your real estate career was so young, like his is, he started in 2020, I think he said. I mean, 5 years, he hasn't even been in real estate for 5 years. Heck, I have hardly even been in real estate for 5 years. And I've been in it for 6, but like, I didn't have any money 5 years ago to invest in an LP. So, yeah, I think it's kind of crazy. And I think that was a really interesting perspective and still blown away that he, now he can spill the beans because he spilled the beans earlier, of just, him coming on the show, being in the right state of mind when his first daughter was just born. He's about to go meet her for the first time in just a few hours. I don't know about you, Allie, but I would be just beside myself. Like, I don't think I could do a podcast.
Yeah, I know. And so I'm like so astonished that he has the mental capacity to do that. So Bobby, like if you want to thank Bobby for his service, go give him a follow. Bobby PAQ on Instagram. If you liked this episode, give this a 5-star review. We want to hear from you. And if you have any suggestions on who you would like to hear on the podcast, hit us up. We are Allie the Agent and the Fi Guy on Instagram.
Make it happen, and we'll see you guys all next week.
That's it for this episode of Investify. We hope that these nuggets of real estate wisdom lead to more savvy financial planning and a clearer path towards financial freedom. For more content like this, subscribe to the show at investify.com. Don't forget to leave a rating and share it with your friends. Together, we can transform more real estate newbies into successful and clever investors. Thank you so much for listening. See you on the next one.